Everett Poole's mother was my school teacher at the Benham School. I remember Dorothy Poole. She was a very dignified lady, and we were talking about English grammar. And with a few huffs and puffs, she stood up on her chair, and then with another step, stood up on a desk. I remember her hemline for some reason. She said, "The verb to be never takes an object." And she said, "You will never forget me telling you this." I never have. And at Bayside High School in Long Island, where we went, the teacher said, "You have an exceptional knowledge of grammar. Where did you get it?" Verb to be never takes an object. As far as I know, it still doesn't. My mother was in the USO in Benhaven. She used to bring ice cream home. And I never knew till later that ice cream was not runny soup, that it actually had some solidarity. You're bringing back some really old memories. My earliest recollection of the island of my grandfather, he was a very nice, gentle man. And he'd read us stories and not read, he'd recite. I don't think he ever finished grade school, but he had memorized poetry, mostly Longfellow. My sister and I would sit on the arms of his chair, and he'd recite, and then we'd go up to bed. And it was the night of the 38 hurricane. We didn't call them by name then. They just were September Gale, and that one caught us by surprise. I remember the chickens went to bed early, and there were other signs. The sky got all kind of yellowy. The stove wasn't behaving itself, and the wind was picking up, and my grandfather was kind of fussing with the damper and cursing the storm. And so we didn't think we were going to get a story that night, but we did. And he recited, of all things, The Wreck of the Hesperus, which really chilling poem about the storm. Anyway, we got upstairs, and hearing the poem made the deepest impression, the deep, deep pigment of the mind. And the Model A Ford had the top blown off, and so there was chicken wire up there. And we drove to Benimsha, and I saw a grown man cry. That stuck in my mind. I forget who it was, but his boat was demolished. And of all that, as a child, 5-year-old, I just took in the scenery of devastation without really feeling until I heard this man spoke with his choked voice. And that made an impression on me. Isn't it interesting how a child remembers things, the children's things, like, never seen a man cry. Welcome, Tilton used to come by the house with notions. And he'd come in, and my sister and I used to play Welcome, Tilton. How you fixed for Manila? And he had shoes that came up high and buttoned. And we used to look at his shoes. The things that kids notice. Lucy Vincent, she was my grandmother's cousin. She's a great naturalist kind of lady. Birds and fossils and mineral deposits, marcasite crystals. And she had shoe boxes of them. She had trout that came in her stream. And many times we went there and put breadcrumbs in the stream and watched the trout come over. And as a librarian, she was always interested in what we were reading. If it was the National Geographic, she would come over because I had naked African ladies in it, and we always knew what articles I was. And so she would direct us to Boy's Life. It's raining memory. She was quite a lady. If she knew that nude people were bathing on her beach, she would roll over in her grave. I would say she would rototill the graveyard.